Today we're playing Spirit Island, and the deity is Lightning Swift Strike. And we hope you'll join us here for this full game playthrough today on Legendary Tactics. Now, I have played actually a surprising amount of Spirit Island, but I've never considered myself a great player. I have really committed to the game recently, and I'm really trying to get better at it. I've found this game, for whatever reason, really tough to just wrap my mind around. However, Lightning Swift Strike, which is the deity that I have chosen here, I've actually found to be pretty straightforward. And I think if I was recommending a starting deity for a player, a new player to the game, I think this is actually a great one to begin with. The way I play it, I basically am racking up as much fear as I possibly can to speed the game along. And you can do some damage, which is really nice, because you can, undo any sort of mistakes that may have cropped up in your gameplay, and kind of reverse things, like do damage to every invader there. That's a nice power to get right off the hop. One damage to each invader, fear and destroy a village there, or a town. And that is really great to have off the hop. And there's some low cost cards as well. And you can push some Dahan around. And if you push them into a place with a town or city, then that's going to add some fear. So it's a really great, I find, intuitive spirit, this, and being able to play cards, multiple cards off the hop and get combos right away. I think it's a really, really great place to start. And I've been trying some of the other spirits, and they're, especially the more defensive ones, they are fun to play, but it's a little bit hard to to push the invaders back once they're kind of established, because you're just not doing enough in the way of damage to really hurt them. So, and this also has some really nice benefits as well, in that you get to play some cards quickly, and look at this, doing some damage right off the hop. And of course, it should be obvious to players that obviously if you can clear the right hand side of the island, it's a little bit easier to hold back the invaders. And the reason's simple, because they're essentially going to be pushing from the coastal lands, and you can arrange your Dahan accordingly, kind of create a defensive wall and keep a lot of your island uninhabited, which is really handy. So I'm going to push 2 Dahan into this spot and get some good stuff going. I'm looking to get some defense up there for the ravage that is to follow. But if if I can do a catch up, get that invader in the sand, and get some defense in that jungle, we're in pretty good shape overall. Of course, that one wetland across the top really does need defending, because it's obviously going to be something that is going to be hard to defend if they can get back into the right hand side of the island pretty quickly. So there's also a card, and you'll see it in a second. I can't read the name of it, but it's essentially the ability to move quickly and use slow powers fast, which I find with this power, with this data, you don't need it very much. So it's a very easy discard in exchange for a major power. This one here, Lightning's Boon. Yeah, it's not, it's fine, but it's expendable. And I think if you're building a strategy, if you get a little bit of luck, you can get a really good major power off the hop. And that can really, really help. So Anyway, yeah, so the harbingers of the lightning, sorry. That is a great card as well. It's cheap, and you can move some Dahan around. Even if you don't get the fear, I think it's a great thing to do. So we're going to do a bit of damage there. And that actually, unfortunately, is going to cost me some Dahan. So I regretted that move. I'm sure that there's going to be some critique of my play here. But luckily, I had a fear card that popped up and kind of saved my bacon. That could have been really bad. But anyway, sometimes you luck out. And hey, there's just one little settlement there. We are in good shape, and they're staying relatively contained. And look at that wall of Dahan around. Now, unfortunately, the coastal invaders do. Unfortunately, the invaders are not that easily fooled or that easily crushed. But you could see how you could get a nice defensive position up and running. Now, you do need to protect your Dahan. I got very lucky with that last card, because Dahan are very useful. And you're going to need them to obviously, with that one event card, to generate fear and so forth. So anyway, just a very useful thing to do. And you're not necessarily going to be able to easily replace the Dahan with the cards that I have seen anyway. It's not a lot of opportunities. So we're going to try and grab a decent minor power. I'm obviously, at this point, I don't have much blight to deal with, so we're going to look for fear and see if we can accelerate the fear factor as much as possible. I also like the idea of pushing. I generally try and stay away from cards which are specific to terrain, because it always seems like the terrain that is required by the card is just not useful at that particular moment. So I don't know what it is. It's it just maybe my bad luck, but I was really struggling for which minor power might be good. There's a few okay options, and they're cheap as well. I kind of like the ability to remove a blight if necessary. Those are always good, but yeah, you got to really try and balance out your powers and make sure that you've got the kind of setup that you're looking for. So that's obviously requires Dahan in that space, which can be a pain. But with this card here, we can push the Dahan around to maybe cause some damage. Anyway, I just think. I was trying to figure out what the best combination is. I've picked up a few expensive cards here, so I'm going to have to put some more presence down. That is actually one of the interesting aspects of this power, is you don't necessarily get a lot of presence down. You have the ability to place 2 in a row, which is great. But there's always seems like there's a better move to do, and something more urgent than getting presence down. So. But I love this. Let's get some more fear up and running. Another fear card in the deck, which is great. And maybe we can push some more Dahan in and get a little bit more fear going. Just see about the fear mongering. And I really love that idea. So that's perfect. I just reversed the order there of the last order there, just because I realized it would be better to have the Dahan advance first and then push the and then remove the city. So sometimes you have to make sure you get the order right. But the game feels very much in control here. The defense worked perfectly. My Dahan's going to recover after taking a damage, but that's fine. It'd be nice to get some defense as well, but I'm going to have to get some some more presence down as well, extend my influence. But you know, there's not a lot of resources for this for Lightning Swift Strike in terms of income, but and it takes a little while to get there. But I think with the cheap cards that are available, I really like this this power. It's again, I just think very still is a challenge, of course, but for a beginner, I think this is one of the most intuitive powers out there. And looking again to push around, the ravaging is going to happen in the wetlands. So we're going to see what we can do to, again, drive the fear factor up. Don't have a lot of resources. I feel that extra card play is kind of wasted, but anyway, it is what it is. So, and we've got a building coming in the jungle. I ended up kind of reconsidering my purchases here because I really wanted to make sure I had this combination right. The only problem was I didn't have the resources to play. Oh, it would have been so great to have, you know, 7 resources and be able to do all 3 actions. But I did have a bit of reconsideration. Ended up kind of going with a similar idea. Now just trying to figure out what the best option is as far as moving some Dahan around, and decided to go with that. So that again pushes the fear factor up. I was hoping to get that other card play in. And that's where I mistimed things, actually, because I thought I was going to get both fast powers as I had been used to. But unfortunately, I didn't get to, and it did cost me a Dahan, which is a reasonably high cost. Luckily, the game's more or less under control, so it's okay. But now we've got to worry about that wetland again, my back 40 being threatened. And the ravage next turn in the jungle is not going to be fun. And the coastal lands after that. So we got to make sure we're doing the most of it. So we're going to do the damage to both of those, and we're going to worry about dealing with the that jungle there next turn. So. Now we got 2 damage per Dahan in the target land with that one. So that would be a great one to combine with pushing some Dahan around. So we'll see. We're going to be looking for that as well, of course, fear and low cost as well. And again, luckily these cards, we got 2 zeros and a 1. And I like the defense option as well with that one. Just if I know it's in specific lands, I think it's mountain and jungle, but it's nice to have that handy, especially given there is a ravage happening. So if I can, muck around with that, planning around that jungle ravage there. I also have to worry about the build up on the wetland at the top of the board. But again, if I can drive the fear cards, enough fear cards, maybe I can get to the point where I don't, if I can, where the victory condition becomes getting rid of all the buildings, that might be a very useful thing. I'm also a little bit concerned about blight, but that's okay. So making the most of the resources that I have, trying to figure out what is the best possible combination. So I'm going to use this to defend 3, and that puts me at the next victory condition, which is great. And I was looking to push some more Dahan in, and this gives me a really good result for that ravage now. So we are in a good spot, and actually, I ended up being able to remove the town anyway, and that was it. No buildings on the island. So was able to finish off the game with the fear card. So anyway, yeah, this was a game that was always relatively in control, and I think that's not a testament to my playing ability, but rather the ease of playing this deity. So hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and hope you got some ideas from it. And I'd start here if you're a beginner. Take care. We'll see you here next time on Legendary Tactics.